Hey guys, All in Crypto here, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for another YouTube video. I am hoping you've all had a wonderful Wednesday so far. Apologies for my daily cryptocurrency market today coming out a little bit later. We're working on some really exciting things for the channel. We've got some amazing interviews lined up with some people who are really innovating the blockchain space as a whole and evolving it, and really working on things like interoperability, and a number of other things, and how do we scale to the masses. We've got some great content coming out for you guys. So before I start this video, if you can do me a big favor, smash that like button, hit that subscribe button, and of course, leave a comment for the algorithm. It is greatly appreciated. We are on a crusade of righteousness to purify the crypto YouTube space this year, and boy oh boy are we going to do so. We bring you that real content. You know, we've been getting things rather right recently. Doesn't mean we're going to continue, but we are going to do our best. And today we're going to be talking about what if this was the bottom, and the bear market has now essentially came to an end. And there are signs of this in regards to, looking at our weekly RSI. Last time we had a bearish divergence was this high to this high. We've now had a bullish divergence, which was here to here. Now, these don't occur often, but when they do, it's something you need to be taking seriously. We've been saying this from when we were down in the doldrums at 15,000. And of course, things have very much played out in the manner that we expected them to. I did release a video on a certain altcoin where I had highlighted that me and my Patreon had actually looked on the 5th of January, which is here, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, and had a discussion. If you go and watch my ADA video that I recently just published, the most recent ADA video, I actually show you the video where we discussed as a group potentially buying cryptos here when it wasn't quite as obvious as potentially it is now. And that's the value of this channel, guys. You get critically thought out analysis, not just very basic RSIs here, so it should go. We bring the whole picture into focus. These daily cryptocurrency market updates are very much not just about the crypto space, but the sort of broader economic environment and where the crypto space finds itself within that. And that, I think there's a lot of alpha to take. We looked at Grayscale potentially leading this market in terms of their GBTC, showing institutional interest. Also, Bitcoin miners could be a similar sort of metric. And there's a number of other things happening. So I will do some TA on Bitcoin, but I just want to address the macro. And then actually I want to show you that this structure that we're currently in here looks kind of similar to what we did in 2014. It's the same kind of structure. Doesn't mean it's going to play out in a similar fashion. But we have seen bull markets or bear markets end in this kind of a manner. And potentially that is what we're looking at. But it's too soon to tell. We'll only know that this is the bottom once it's shown us that. And we're not necessarily calling it a bottom. We're just saying that it could be. And this is a stance that we've really maintained since the start of this month. So since the 1st of January, all the videos are still up there, guys, after staying out the market for last year. We've actually said, look, we're not bearish here, and the people that are bearish are late to the party. But it doesn't mean we're bullish. Yes, the price has done very well. But we've, there's still quite a bit of work to be done. You could be doing one of these situations where you're going to build up. We still do think there is a demand-crushing event potentially on the horizon. But, I do think that many people, this is a very hated rally. I can see it. The consensus really is still that we're going to go and put a leg lower and Bitcoin's coming to 12, 10K. It might. We're not saying it won't. But we're saying that those people waiting for that, what happens if that never comes? They're going to be and have missed out because they're just like they missed out on selling the top. People often miss out on the bottom. So let's talk about the macro sort of economics, and then we'll break everything down in terms of Bitcoin and do some TA. Today we had UK inflation also dropping. We got wholesale prices fell, so inflation's coming down there. The CPI in Canada also dropped, more inflation downwards. This was some remarks from the Fed's barking. To pause, the inflation must be convincingly back to target. So the Fed aren't necessarily going to pause, but we already speculated before there was a lot of dovish tones coming out of them that the Fed didn't have much further to go, because, of course, we look at the 2-year yields and we said that this potentially is hot topped, which means that the Fed fund rate isn't going to get much past 4.9%. So we've already done all this analysis and are ahead of the curve on this. This is interesting. The bond market is in la la land. Inflation back to 2.5% in 9 to 12 months. Fed cutting to 2.75%, and real yields back to zero in 18 to 24 months. Tight credit spreads, low implied volatility, basically immaculate disinflation with no recession. That's what markets are looking at. And actually, the thing is with this environment that we're in, I mentioned this before, is you've got to look at it with a degree of it being different to any environment that we've been in previously. And the reason being is because when was the last time that we had lockdowns and we had to deal with an economy that was coming out of that? So it's natural to say that those metrics that we once used may not apply now. This video is so important. If only the majority of people that watch YouTube content creators watch this video, they'd be ahead of the curve. I really do mean that. And hopefully you guys can testify that that have been watching these videos. I'm not blowing my own trumpet necessarily, but what I am is passionate about this and really dedicated to making sure that we get this right as a channel, as a community, and move forwards. So there's a lot going on. You know, we have highlighted this bullish div. I think I've actually got on here the last bearish div. So this is the daily, which isn't going to make a lot of sense. But this was your bearish div. This is your bullish div. And we're looking potentially for this to be, or to show that your trend, which is the downtrend, just like when your uptrend was in danger, is in danger, and that there's likely to be a change. If nothing else, at least a pullback. We've speculated that actually you could be looking at a 30,000 Bitcoin by March. Bold call to make, but it's potential. And really, you know, looking at the volume, we need to see volume support this. So we've still got pretty low volume, but often you do get low volume on the breaks, and then it will sort of wind up and come down the other end. So we need to see continued volume going into this. Really, we'll look at the daily. I should definitely have put a moving average on the volume so that it would kind of simplify it and just show broadly more that it's ticking up. But we need to watch the volume continuing to come up. This is essentially what we're looking at. I would like to see a pullback here, but actually the dollar's just getting destroyed. Now, we still hold dollar stablecoins. And we are speculating that actually you're running into support here, and it's well due a rally. Now, maybe that gives us the pullback that we're looking for, and then we can play that accordingly. But whilst the dollar's being like this, you know, the stock market is also at key resistance. However, it often does put a toe above it before coming back down. The VIX I haven't looked at, but I don't really want to get too into it. Coinbase, I mean, what a rally. Coinbase as well, guys, talking about your RSI divergence. It's on the daily, but it's even more apparent on the weekly. You can see that bullish div. You don't ignore these guys, yet people do. And I think this is a very hated rally. So we're not saying this is the bottom, but we're saying it might be. We're saying the sort of macro data and markets being forward-looking as kind of suggesting this, and that a recession is likely going to be avoided, and that there's going to be a soft landing now coming into probability, or more probable than it has once been, and markets are all going to price that in and readjust. But it's really going to be a case of waiting to see. We do have the yield curve. We do have a number of things. It's all stuff we've spoken about 1,000,001 times on this channel, guys. And this does typically predict that there's a bad event coming down the road. But actually, it's not usually until the yield curve is uninverted that this takes place. And you can overlay the S&P just for a little bit more alpha for anybody who's interested. You know, typically when you have this inversion, it's not until it's inverted that the actual crash occurs for markets, or out of this inverted zone. So there's lots going on, lots to think about, and that's why these market updates are so important, because we really are forward looking and trying to figure all this out for you, and hopefully give you the best sort of chance that we can moving forwards. I was going to do a technical. I've seen this floating around on Bitcoin. Obviously the MACD, this bullish cross, you know, typically this gives you a decent signal that there's going to be more continuation. We also spoke about the Heikin-Ashi candles and the monthly chart, and that actually, look, if you do get this as a green close, you're going to get another green candle. It's never not done that in Bitcoin's history, and it will do it likely, in my opinion. So we are looking for more upside. We think actually 30K by May sort of time, going into May, just before May, is definitely on the cards, in my opinion, but time will tell. And if we do get that 30K, you're going to see a lot of angry people around that have now become fully fledged bears, potentially having to move back into becoming bulls, probably just in time for some sort of a decent pullback. What else have we got? So I also want to highlight this as well on the weekly. This is potentially a macro falling wedge. Potentially. Now, I'm not saying with 100% certainty, but there's lots of signs that I don't think you should be ignoring at this point. Let's get rid of these draws. These scribbles, I should call them. Draws is kind of doing them a little bit of a favor. You know, you're in this very sharp ascending sort of structure that you may have broke out of. Maybe you get some sort of a retest before they get that continuation. You do have this on a number of altcoins, like Polkadot, for example, broken out. We did share this, and there's a number of others that I won't mention here. And again, guys, anybody who wants to find out more about this, what we're buying, if we're buying, when we're buying, and how we're buying, you know, what we're looking at, where we're interested, there is a link to my Patreon in the description. It's well worth it, in my opinion, something I wish I'd had when I first got into the crypto space. On that note, guys, I am going to love and leave you. If you have enjoyed this content, and actually Ethereum right here, squeezy, Japanesey, is doing rather well. On that note, guys, I'm going to love and leave you. If you enjoyed the content, like is always appreciated. So is a comment, and I look forward to seeing each and every one of you in the next YouTube video. Again, if you can do me a huge favor and leave me a like, a comment, and share this video, it would be greatly appreciated. Have a wonderful day, guys. See you in the next one.